Disclaimer: the following episode contains spoilers for Project Power. Don't go crying to your mum if we spoil it for you. You've been warned. Also, some stuff from the DC FanDome thing. Spoilers for that too. Blah, blah. Welcome to PodCapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. And this week, no one man should have all that power. Give it to a bunch of people instead. Cue the music! Hello there, Capers, and as I said, welcome to PodCapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. My name is Scott James Merridew, and this is the show where we talk about various geek and nerd-related topics, and I'm joined each week by a very special guest. My guest today is a brand spanking new member of a place to hang your cape. Give it up, Capers, for Michael McCabe.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michael McCabe. I'm reviewing Project Power today.
Yes, we are Project Power, the latest thing that Netflix has vomited up. But it's actually good vomit. It's healthy vomit. It's vomit that, like, birds do for their little chicks, like vomiting up stuff so they can eat. I don't know. We're going to get into all of that, and don't mistake me, Capers. We may be praising or criticizing this movie at one point, but don't take this as anything like a sort of praising of Netflix, because right now I'm not their biggest fan because of all the horrible shit they've done, which we've talked about before, and I'm going to go over again. If we ever praise this movie, it's just this movie we're praising, not Netflix, because they are bastards. Standard Disney/DC rules apply for me. But before we get into all of that, we actually do have to talk about DC, because DC have had their recent FanDome McGubbins, and a lot of interesting stuff has happened. A lot of cool stuff has been revealed. You get a chance to check it out, Michael?
Oh, yeah. No, I've been looking at... I think I've seen mostly everything. I mean, just the trailers and stuff. It seems... Yeah, they've released, like, a lot of stuff, like video games, movies.
And honestly, there's just enough stuff here that I think we could possibly do an episode all on just that. But I don't really want to spend an episode just recapping all of DC's release announcements and stuff. And I do want to talk about Project Power. So we're just going to go a brief overview of some of the stuff they released. First of all, the new trailer for The Batman.
Ooh.
Yeah, Matt Reeves' long-awaited Batman starring Edward from Twilight. Trailer looks interesting.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it's just like a teaser, so it's interesting. But I'm a big fan of the cast so far. Jeffrey Wright, Pattinson, Paul Dano, Riddler seems really cool.
Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. I know Alex Mirabal is very much looking forward to her.
Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman is like perfect casting. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a fun trailer. It was kind of weird. It was kind of interesting. It was kind of like, it was very like mystery, scary, spooky. But it seems kind of on the theme that they're going for of like Batman as like more of a detective type, which they haven't.
Which I hate.
Done. You hate Batman as a detective?
He's not a detective. He just steals stuff from crime scenes, plugs it into the Bat computer, and lets it do all the figuring out for him.
That's mostly true, but that makes him the world's greatest detective.
No, he just has a hyper-advanced version of Google. I'm not a detective because I have access to a laptop.
But he invented the Bat computer. Well, I don't know if that's true, actually. Lucius Fox probably invented the Bat computer. But that's okay.
No. I'm sure he built the Bat computer and borrowed a lot of stuff from Wayne Tech or whatever. But like, people can build computers like PCs in their own home. That doesn't mean they invent computers.
That's okay. That's true. You got me there. But there are a lot of great Batman comic stories where he's a detective. I'll stand by that.
But here's the thing. Lots of superheroes are detectives. By the rules that we ascribe to Batman that qualify him to be a detective, do you know who else is a detective? Spider-Man, the Punisher, Captain America, Superman, Green Lantern. Almost every single superhero that deals with street level or at least organized crime and solves those crimes could be considered a detective. So why are we singling Batman out? I'll tell you why. Because he originated in Detective Comics and they have to keep reminding us that he was a detective to justify that. Except now it's like 70 plus years later and we don't need that anymore. Everyone's a fucking detective. God!
But Batman is the best at it, at being specific.
How?
I don't know. It's just whenever I'm watching like DC cartoons or reading DC comics, and they're like, "We need to solve this mystery," they always go to Batman.
Because DC keep pushing this angle that he's the world's greatest detective. That's it. I mean, they could call almost anyone competent from the Justice League, and there was Martian Manhunter could do the job. Hell, again, he was an alien that came down from Mars in Detective Comics, and they were just like, "Oh God, we can't just have an alien superhero." Detective Comics. You're a detective now. I am. Yes, you are. But I just came down from Mars. Who cares? You're a detective now. It's and to be clear, I'm fine with Batman solving crimes. I'm fine with him tackling those things. That can lead to some very interesting stories, like, for example, The Long Halloween. That's a fantastic story where he does a lot of detective work. I just reject this notion that he is, in fact, the world's greatest detective, or even a detective, and we don't ascribe that to any other superhero. Bullshit! I go bullshit, sir!
Well, okay, you have a point. I can admit you have a point, but I still believe Batman's the world's greatest detective, and I'm excited for this film's like mystery vibe, which it seems to have.
I mean, I'm all for the mystery vibe. That is cool. I'm not sure what to make of the Riddler's outfit because I'm a sucker for the classic suit, tie, bowler hat, maybe some glasses / mask, Riddler cane sort of thing. Not the Jim Carrey jumpsuit leotard getup because that was weird, but
yeah, strange. Kind of out of left field for the Riddler. No, I'm a fan of the classic. I'm a fan of the classic Riddler as well.
Yeah.
It's
the Riddler's, I mean, here's the thing. As much as I don't like Batman, I do love his rogues gallery, and the Riddler is one of my favorites. So that'll be interesting.
yeah.
And apparently the Penguin's going to be in as well. I think we got a quick glimpse of him.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Wright, I'm assuming, is Jim Gordon.
I believe that's Gordon. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that Gordon. It'll be interesting. I can't believe you don't like Batman at all. You're not a Batman fan?
I like the idea of Batman, but the problem is that idea of Batman is so rarely holds up. Like, okay, I like Batman in the animated series / Mark the Phantasm / the Justice League extended universe cartoon series.
Kevin Conroy, classic Batman. Yeah,
exactly. I like that Batman. I respect to a certain degree Christopher Nolan's Batman, but after that, my patience just wears thin because so many writers make him either boring as fuck or just a psychotic keep away from me man. And it doesn't help when directors like Zack Snyder, I'm going to talk about him in a sec, go up and make him like explode criminals and break their spines and stuff. It's like, no, because like there's such an interesting story there, but it's so people just too many people are just Bat fans and they get overwhelmed with the wanky side of Batman and they're just like, oh, we love you, Batman. Oh, we love you so much. And they idolize him to the point where they think they can do just anything with him. And it's half the problem is overexposure because as good as a character as he could be, there's plenty of other characters that deserve just as much of the spotlight, if not more so, but they're always pushed aside because he's DC's big money maker, because he's like Superman, but, you know, edgy.
And he is, but he has no powers. It's always been so relatable.
Fuck, there's a million superheroes that don't have any fucking powers. When you think about it, Booster Gold doesn't have any powers.
But Booster Gold can time travel. It's just not one of his powers.
So, Batman can disappear, like teleport, whenever you look away from him. Like, that's not the point. Look, I can't spend this whole episode talking about how much Batman sucks. And I say that. I could do that. But A, I've done that before on PodCapers many times. And B, we've got other stuff to do. So we're going to move on from that. That looks kind of cool. I'll check it out. Maybe good, maybe crap. I'm not going to hold my breath.
Fair enough.
Next big thing that fanboys are wetting their big oversized pants over is the Justice League Snyder Cut.
Yes. Yes, people are excited.
I'm not.
I'm trying to keep an open mind. I don't think it's going to be like a revelation on the
No.
original Justice League. It's not going to be wildly better, I don't think. I mean, it's Zack Snyder. He's not got like the most fantastic hit rate as a director.
No.
So, I'm not, overwhelmingly excited, but I'll give it a shot. I mean, I don't know how different it's going to be. We'll see.
I
We'll
mean,
see.
here's the thing. A director's cut can make all the difference. Kingdom of Heaven by Ridley Scott, the theatrical cut is shit, but the director's cut is actually not half bad. Hell, even further, another Ben Affleck movie, Daredevil. Theatrical cut, shit. Director's cut, not too bad, mainly because it has Coolio in it. But I've mentioned that too many times on PodCapers as well. But here's the thing. It can improve a film, but only by so much. A lot of those elements are still there, and as you say, it's still Zack Snyder. He is not a good director. Nothing personal against the guy. I'm not saying there's no place in cinema. Cinematographer, sure.
Yeah.
Like director of photography, sure. Absolutely. He can make a film look half decent, I guess. Like 300
Yeah.
visual spectacle. But it's that sort of niche areas where he belongs, nowhere else. And I don't trust him as a director. And this movie, the Snyder Cut, is going to be 4 hours.
Oh my god. That's long. I'm definitely going to watch it. I don't know that I'll like it. No, I mean, Zack Snyder probably shouldn't be anywhere near the script if you're going to have him do anything.
Oh, God.
It's
The script, director's chair, all of it. So, I mean, this is purely done because there's been such an outcry online. And, I mean, it's the old adage, be careful what you wish for, because you're going to get this, DC fans. You're going to watch it, and you're going to go online, and then you're going to complain about it. That's what's going to happen. Some of you may get some enjoyment of it, and if you do, good for you. I think a lot of DC fans at this point deserve something to enjoy from it that isn't like Shazam or Wonder Woman, but I don't know. It's it is what it is. I don't really care. We're gonna move on now to the only trailer out of the DC FanDome that I purposefully did not watch because I'm actually looking forward to it. Wonder Woman 1984.
Ooh, it looked good. It looks good. I'm excited. I've finally got more cheetah. That's most of what the new trailer is a
That's
lot of cheetah.
That's partially why I didn't watch it, because I want to sake. Like, I don't watch trailers for things that I'm really looking forward to. And I'm really looking forward to this because, okay, so let me take you back, Michael, a few years. The very first time I was ever on a podcast was on the Jock and Nerd podcast. Check them out. They're awesome. And they asked me, what I thought about the upcoming Suicide Squad. And I said, oh my God, it looks amazing. This is going to be really cool. Fuck Man of Steel. Fuck all that other bullshit. Suicide Squad is where it's at. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be epic because it's an original premise. And it's going to be really, really cool. It's got a great cast. It's got a great director. This is going to be fucking amazing from start to finish. And it made a fool out of me.
Made a fool out of us all.
Yeah, but I went on the record, and since then, I've had a policy of, if a DC movie is good, I will enjoy it. If a DC movie is bad, I will decry it. But I refuse to look forward to or be optimistic about any movie from DC from now on. There is one exception. Anything relating to Wonder Woman / Gal Gadot, that sort of thing. Because they earned my forgiveness. Well, Wonder Woman earned my forgiveness. So I am looking forward to 1984. I have just one problem. Like, they say this is like the official main trailer, but we've had a bunch of trailers before this.
Yeah, they were all cool too, but we've had a lot now. That's true. No, it wasn't that huge of a reveal besides Cheetah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically the only reason to watch it, and I don't want to watch it because I want to save Cheetah for the big screen, and when I finally get to see it, assuming, by the time it's released, we'll be able to go to cinemas.
Oh
Actually,
man.
cinemas are opening in the UK right now. How long that'll last, I don't know, but
Mm.
anyway.
Yeah, I don't know when they're gonna open here.
Hmm.
No idea.
S- So, I mean, aside from Cheetah, are there any other standouts from the trailer that you can describe for us?
A lot of like Steve Trevor is there, and he has a lot of like I'm in the '80s now gags. Max Lord shows up a little bit. Mostly it's action. Um, a lot of the action, honestly, that we've already seen in other trailers, just kind of like expanded upon. Um, we got to look at like real cheetah, like not just like Kristen Wiig in like a cheetah print outfit, but like her as like the cheetah for like a second. That was pretty intense. Um,
I would actually love it though if in the actual movie when she finally transforms, as it were, it's just Kristen Wiig in a cheetah print, leopard print outfit and just going like meow meow, just that. I would.
I would be interested. I think Kristen Wiig could sell that.
I'm going to defeat you, Wonder Woman. It'll be the perfect crime. And it's just her. The entire movie, up until that point, has been 100% serious, 100% taking everything, like, down to earth, as much as Wonder Woman can be. And then Kristen Wiig just pops out like it's SNL, and then it turns into Wonder Woman if it was made by the same people that made the 60s Batman show. Just that.
I would be fascinated. That would be such a
Uh,
cinematic experiment. Oh man.
oh, oh god. But anyway, we're gonna move on from that now to something that I want to look forward to. I do, but I'm not going to because it has not earned for my forgiveness. The Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah. I didn't actually get a look at what they released, but it's just like a cast, right? It's just like a
There's
what
two
is?
things. There's a trailer
Mhm.
that sort of there's a behind the scenes sort of thing, looking at a couple of scenes that are clearly unfinished and stuff. A couple of cast interviews and interviews with James Gunn. Looks pretty good. But then there is a big trailer showcasing the entire Suicide Squad and then some. So let's break down the cast. We've got Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. She looks awesome. We've
Always.
got we've got what's his face? Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang,
I'm
returning as
glad
well.
he's returning. I'm glad he's coming back. Of all of them that are coming back, he was funny. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
he should have been a much bigger focus in the original movie, so maybe they're doing that again this time. Who knows?
Mm.
Rick Flag is returning. Joel Kinnaman, the guy who flips a coin and says, "Am I going to give a good performance or a bad performance today?" Let's see.
Yep.
I mean, I liked him kind of in Altered Carbon, but every other thing I've seen him in has been utter shit. But then most things he's in is actually quite shit. So,
Yeah. No, that's true. He was great in The Killing back when, but I haven't seen him in too much. Yeah, he was good in Alter Common, but yeah, it's kind of 50-50 with Joel Kinnaman. That's true.
I'm never going to get over that fucking Robocop reboot. Swear to God.
Oh
Like, you
man.
had a perfect update for the original design of Robocop, and then you just put it in the bin and made him all black and the stupid red stripe. I'm not going to get into that. So, who else? We've got Idris Elba, who I'm always happy to see, as
Mhm.
Bloodsport, a character I'm not very familiar with. Apparently, this Idris Elba was going to be Deadshot, but
Mhm.
they decided, actually, no, we'll make this other character just in case Will Smith ever wants to return. If his career ever hits another slump. That happens every
Mhm.
5 years or so.
That's
Uh,
interesting. I didn't know that. Wow.
mm,
Bloodsport. Never heard of him. Interesting.
I've never heard of most of these characters, in fairness. They're pretty obscure characters, which means they can do whatever the fuck they want with them, which is the perfect idea.
True.
John Cena is Peacemaker,
Hmm.
and in the brief interview we saw of him in one of those trailers, he described himself as like a douchey Captain America. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, one of my favorite casting of this movie is Peter Capaldi as this guy called the Thinker. That's going to be
Oh.
awesome.
Yeah, the Thinker. He's back. All right.
Because here's the thing. Apparently, the Thinker is from he's a big fat Flash villain and was in the fourth season of The Flash. But I'm not
Yeah.
watching The Flash anymore, so I completely missed that. But I love Peter Capaldi, not just because it's fun to say his name. Peter Capaldi, Peter Capaldi, Peter Capaldi, who has lost all meaning. Uh, I think that'll be really, really cool. Alice Braga is this character called Sol Soria. I don't know anything about her. Apparently, she's some sort of South American, which is where the story takes place, actually. She's some sort of a revolutionary from down there. And her name may be a reference to another member of Suicide Squad that I'm also unfamiliar with, so no real information for you there. Sorry. Pete Davidson, the king of Staten Island himself, is Blackguard, or Blackguard. I don't know how you would say that. In England, we would say Blackguard. In America, you might say Blackguard. I don't know how you pronounce it. Sure, we'll find out.
Yeah.
David, gonna get this name wrong, Dastmalchian, who I've seen in a bunch of stuff but couldn't tell you what any of them were. He's a very prolific character actor. Is playing this guy called Polka Dot Man.
Oh yeah, Polka Dot Man. I'm familiar.
Oh, so you know this character?
I remember him vaguely from my childhood, but I know he exists. And
he's in a big white suit with polka dots, like multicolored polka dots all over it.
That's Polka Dot Man. Oh yeah.
I'm 100% down. Like, can you imagine him in the original Suicide Squad movie? Like, just like, "Hi guys, I'm Polka Dot Man. I'm here to save the day." Like, I don't know if that's what he sounds like, and I'm sure he's actually quite the badass, because that would be even more funny. I don't know. I can't wait to see him in action. Michael Rooker, as part of his long-standing Faustian agreement to be an awesome actor but have to appear in every single James Gunn movie ever made, appears as Savant. Like, no joke, he's in every single James Gunn movie.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Nathan Fillion, one of my favorite actors of all time, is also in this movie as, and oh god, apparently he's Arm Fall Off Boy.
He's Arm Fall Off Boy?
Apparently, I think in the trailer he's described, I think it's TDK or something like that. But apparently, according to other sources, that he's just he's also Arm Fall Off Boy. I don't know how that works. All I know is James Gunn saw an opportunity to potentially have Arm Fall Off Boy in his movie, and he'd be a fool if he didn't take it. I would take that. I'm fucking shoving him in the Justice League.
Yeah, make him part of the Justice League. Why not? That's amazing. Wow. So is that the whole cast?
No, we're like halfway done.
We're halfway? Oh my god. All right, here we go.
Because bear in mind, this is the Suicide Squad. A lot of these people are going to be very disposable, to get blown up or get shot or whatever. So you got to have a lot of people. This is something the original movie didn't understand. So then we got Daniela Melchior, I don't know how to say her name, as Ratcatcher 2, which is like a female version of one of Batman's more obscure villains, a Ratcatcher. Be interesting to see her do that. Steve Agee and John Economos in a dual role as King Shark, who I believe was in... Yeah, he's in the Harley Quinn animated series, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, so
no,
I just...
That's King Shark. Unless it's like... There's a handful of shark villains.
This is why I'm asking, because I know Ron Fuchs is Shark Guy, but...
I think there's one that's just called Orca, but that's not a shark.
No.
Because it's an orca.
That's racist against orcas. What the fuck's wrong with you?
I think it's more racist against sharks. But
okay.
But yeah, I think it's King Shark. I believe it's King Shark.
Okay, and then we've got Sean Gunn, once again appearing in one of his brothers' movies as Weasel, and he's not Deadpool's sidekick Weasel, like an actual fucking rat, like a weasel, half rat, half man, weasel man.
He'd be good for that.
Yeah, I don't know why Sean Gunn works as a weasel man. I'm just glad they didn't cast Bradley Cooper, because then that's one too many rodents he's played. It's just
too many. Yeah,
too many. Then we got a few other people around the cast. Also, there's this character called the Javelin in it, a German athlete turned supervillain who wields javelins, played by Flula Borg.
Oh my god! Wait, who is that?
Flula Borg is a German actor / singer. He's been a slash YouTube guy. He has been in a number of things, including another John Cena movie, Ferdinand, and Pitch
Mm.
Perfect 2, and a bunch of other things. You may recognize him from a Conan O'Brien show. He did a music video with a Ninja Sex Party called Self Care Sunday. He's quite a character, and he's fucking hilarious, and I'm so glad he's in this movie, and I hope he dies horribly.
All
Just
right.
not because I have anything against the man, but just because that would be funny, and he would make it incredibly funny. And rounding out the cast, we've also got Maylin Nig as okay, it's that name NG. I can never remember how you pronounce it.
Yeah, it's Ing or Ning. I can't recall exactly.
I believe
Usually,
it's like a Vietnamese South Asian name.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I've never been able to pronounce it correctly because I am an uneducated moron. She's playing Mongal, who's like this alien cousin, sister, relative of the Superman villain Mongul. I
Oh yeah,
don't.
Mongol. Wait, she's a relative of Mongols.
I apparently, based on the limited research I did, I don't know. She kind of looks like Starfire. That's
Interesting. Okay.
that's all I
Space.
know. And of course, the last returning cast member, at least that I'm aware of, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. Now, if there's one character that I absolutely loathe the way they portrayed her in the original David Ayers movie, it's Amanda Waller, closely followed by Harley Quinn. But Amanda Waller, because I mean, Amanda Waller is like the Nick Fury of DC, but if he was just a wee bit more morally grey and probably quite a bit evil. Like
Yeah.
that that's Amanda Waller. She's such an interesting character. She's so cool. Viola Davis is such an interesting actor. She's so cool. She could eat that role alive, and they hand her and us this watered down moron. Amanda Waller in the David Ayers movie is a fucking moron who is directly responsible for all the bad shit that happens that she then has to cover up. Amanda Waller would never be so sloppy as to have to cover her own tracks with the team that is the reason why the bad shit is happening. That movie's so fucking stupid. I really hope they do her much better in this movie. And apparently, the premise of the movie, as far as we're aware, is that Amanda Waller has reassembled the Suicide Squad to liberate a South American country, which is actually what the kind of thing that the
Yeah.
Suicide Squad would do in the comics.
No, exactly.
God!
Well, yeah. I mean, Margot Robbie and Viola Davis are both really talented. The first Suicide Squad movie just did not like live up to the potential of those two characters being played by those two actors. It was disappointing. No, this
And
seems
then,
like yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be. I hopefully this movie will turn out great. I trust James Gunn. Like, it's DC. So here's the thing: I don't know if DC's just like, okay, James, you want to make a Suicide Squad movie? Yeah, sure. Okay, go and do that. Go free, you magnificent mad bastard. You directed Slither. Like, you think we're going to tell you what to do? No. I hope that's what happened. What I'm worried is going to happen is that every time he makes a decision, DC are going to be peering over his shoulder, checking his work, and saying, no, don't do that, do that. And he'll be. Because at this point, this happened because of everything that happened with him and Marvel and Guardians of the Galaxy. He signed
Yeah.
on for this. And thankfully, he is going back to Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm very glad about that. But this came at a point where I would argue that James Gunn was vulnerable. Like, he was looking for a job, and they said, we'll give you a job, we'll give you a home. And I'm worried that they might take advantage of him like that. I don't know. But who knows? All I know is James Gunn is a great director, and this looks good. But like I said, Suicide Squad once did me dirty, so I'm not going to.
No,
I'm not going to hold out hope.
you can't get your hopes too high. But it's certainly interesting. I mean, James Gunn with that cast. I'm interested in the kind of humor he'll go for with like Nathan Fillion and Pete Davidson. Like what he'll write for them. That's interesting.
And it's also just funny because he's brought over so many actors from Guardians of the Galaxy, like Michael Rooker, Sean Gunn, and Nathan Fillion. So
Yeah.
It's just like Marvel's just like, but we had those people. Give them back. No, because most of them are dead. But
Yeah, they
still.
are.
Yeah. But anyway, and so that's the Suicide Squad. I really think they should have given it a better name than that, than the Suicide Squad. It's just like one additional word from the last one, just like Suicide Squad. At the very least, they should have called it the real Suicide Squad, like the real Ghostbusters or something.
that would have been that would have been funny. Um, yeah, it's a weird title, but I guess they're just trying to get you to pretend that the original never existed by calling it something that is virtually the same. Um, but we'll see. We shall see with this
We
one. I'm interested.
we will have to see. Yeah. Next up on the docket is a film that actually kind of interests me. I'm intrigued. My interest is piqued. Black Adam with Dwayne Johnson.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty excited about this one. Again, it's DC and it could be anything, but Dwayne Johnson could be a really good Black Adam. He definitely looks the part in terms of like being really fucking muscular. Um, Black Adam's a cool character. Black Adam's a really interesting character. I mean, I'm interested to see what they do with it. And I
Apparently, the trailer that was released was sort of like a, I don't know how to describe it, concept art, proof of
yeah
concept, very bare bones teaser. Like they didn't show any actual footage. It just
yeah
kind of zoomed in on The Rock and then revealed a bunch of artwork. And that's fine. That's all you really need to do for a teaser, I guess. It's just apparently he's going to be an anti-hero, which is interesting because all I know about Black Adam is he's from this place called Kandak,
yeah
and
Kandak
he's like
Kond- yeah
Karndak, and he's very, very, very uber about protecting that place to the point where he's sort of like a dictator or something. I don't know,
yeah.
and he utilizes the power of the Shazam, whatever you want to call it, in nefarious ways, supposedly in under the guise of protecting that place. That's all I know. I don't know if that's what they're going for, but I think that'd be interesting. I think it'd be interesting to see like a guy with the best of intentions, maybe being warped into becoming something ugly. Like a guy starts off as the hero but becomes the villain. I think that would be very interesting, and I think Dwayne Johnson could do a good job of that. Except, well, look, Dwayne Johnson is a good actor. I personally believe that, like when he first got started, like doing like Scorpion King and shit. Like he wasn't that good, but since then he's matured and he's become, I think, a decent actor in his own right. But here's the thing, and it's something that's been noticed by a
Mhm.
lot of people. He's done a few like villain roles in the past, and he's kind of hard to take seriously in those roles because we now know that Dwayne the Rock Johnson is in actuality a massive fucking teddy bear.
No, he always plays like the most likable guys, and he's such a nice guy. It's interesting. I don't even know what the performance is going to be for him for Black Adam. He'll have to be so like intense and angry just because that's who Black Adam is. You're right. I don't think I've ever seen Dwayne Johnson play someone that like angry since I watched like The Mummy 2 when I was like 9. Um,
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
it's
Mostly he's a big cuddly guy. Yeah.
he was a bad guy in like the Doom movie, and a bad guy. Well, not a bad guy, but he was a much more intense, much more brooding guy in like the Fast and Furious movies, with the exception of the latest one, I guess, way because that was played more for laughs anyway.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I think it'd be interesting, and I think he's a relatively good choice. Here's the thing: I don't want to pigeonhole him as an actor. I don't want to say, "Oh, you can't do these roles and you can't that." But actors do sometimes have limited ranges, and but again, the proof of the pudding will be in the eating. So I'm not going to dismiss this movie out of hand based on absolutely nothing. And one other thing I just want to say about this movie is apparently the Justice Society of America, which may include Hawkman, Doctor Fate, Cyclone, and Atom Smasher, may also be in the movie. I don't know. All I know is I'm glad that DC are giving some of these lesser known characters some more screen time.
Yeah, I'm kind of a fan of the Justice Society. I've read like a handful of things with them in it. They're pretty cool. I mean, like they're kind of a big deal in DC Comics just generally, even though they're not that well known. So, like Jeff Johns has written like so much of the
Hmm.
Justice Society. I'm interested to see like how they'll get incorporated into like DC's like on-screen presence. Black Adam's
I
probably a
re-
good way to do it. But he's usually pretty tied up with the Justice Society in the comics. Like he joins them at different points.
oh
So
really? Oh okay. I didn't know that. I've read a few JSA stuff. Like there was this one. I don't know if it was Jeff Johns that did it. It had like Starman and Stargirl back when she's called the Star Spangled Kid, and this
mhm.
guy Sand who was like the protege
Oh yeah,
of the
same.
Sandman. No, not that one. The other one. And it was pretty good. I mean, the main thing we have with the JSA right now is when every time they appear in a TV show, most recently in the Stargirl show, which had so much promise, and I fucking hate at this point.
Mm. I haven't seen
Have you
Stargirl,
are
but
you watching that?
no, I'm not. I'm
So
not. Yeah.
it's guys, I'm like, okay, mini rant about the new Stargirl show because I'm not going to do a fucking episode on it. It doesn't deserve it. It starts off, you think, oh, it's the origin story of this character, Stargirl, Courtney Whitmore, and her stepdad, who pilots a giant fucking robot. This seems awesome, right? That like it was in the comics. No, because it's doing the same that all these Arrowverse shows are doing. It's just it appears at first to be about this one character, but then immediately, before the dust can even settle, it's all about we must assemble a team. We must get all these different characters together, and so it's about her now reassembling and creating the next generation of the Justice Society, which is fine. In which case, if you're going to do that, call your show the fucking New Justice Society. Justice Society Next Generation, JSA, TNG, I don't care. You can do that, but don't call your show fucking Stargirl and then not focus on fucking Stargirl. Like, she's the main character, but like 2 episodes in, she's all about let's give all these powers and shit to all these different people that I just met in my high school. I
Oh.
and it would be fine if they lent into that and if it was a little bit silly, but then they have like children dying in the show,
Oh God.
like,
That's
and
intense.
it's yeah, and it's just like, what are you going? What is your tone? What are you going for here? And there are times when it does work, like it has often at times like a Spielberg vibe, like when she's first getting to grips with her powers using this big cosmic staff thing. That's pretty cool. The actress does a great job, and it feels very whimsical, but in a good way. And the relationship between her and the stepdad, played by Luke Wilson, is also pretty good. But then even that gets ruined when it devolves into her saying, I know better than you about everything. And he's like, yeah, but I've actually lived and I've seen like every single superhero that I've ever known and cared about die horribly, and I don't want the same thing to happen to you. So maybe listen to me a little bit. No, I'm going to do whatever I want. Oh no, my actions cause someone to get killed. Well, now you see. Are you going to listen to me now? No, what do you know? Shut up! Luke Wilson is trying his fucking hardest and he's built a fucking giant mech robot. You listen to him, Courtney! But that's my rant on Stargirl over. I'm gonna move on because we're still not done with the DC FanDome yet. We've got an actual movie to review still. God. So there's a bunch of video game trailers out. First of
Yeah.
all, Gotham Knights.
Oh yeah. I saw the trailer. Here's my thing. I used to play the old Arkham games, and I loved them. But I always wondered you would be able to like buy like Nightwing, or like I think even in the last one you were like able to play as like Nightwing and Robin, like a handful of times throughout the game. But you never got to just play as them like in Gotham. You never got to just like run around Gotham as like Nightwing or Robin. And as someone who's kind of like a Batman nerd, I was always disappointed. I was like, I love Batman, but also Nightwing and Robin and all these designs they came up with them for the video games were cool as fuck, and you never got
Hey,
to play as
Rocksteady,
well.
all these characters that you've got that I can't play as the main character, they're all far more interesting and complex and developed than Batman. Can I play at them? No!
No, exactly. So I feel like I am excited for this game just because like fulfills this like visceral impulse I had to make the like Batman family more the main characters of the story. We haven't gotten any gameplay, so I don't really know what the
Well,
game
actually,
actually
we
is
have.
yet.
We have. We've
Oh, we
gotten two
have, we
trailers.
have. Oh
Yeah,
my god,
you
you're
probably saw the premiere trailer, the world premiere trailer, but we also got a gameplay trailer that was from like an alpha build, a pre-alpha build of the game, so it's kind of rough around the edges. And the gameplay looks. Here's the thing: it doesn't look fantastic. It looks like they're very much emulating Rocksteady's Arkham sort of gameplay, But again, it is a pre-alpha build, so we really
Mm.
can't criticize it that much. I'd say it could be very fun to play as. I'm kind of intrigued myself, as a guy who's only sort of dipped his toe into the Arkhamverse games. It would be, it might be a bit interesting. But here's the thing: apparently, it's not a continuation of the Arkham games, even though it could very well pick up where the last game left off.
It very much so could. I mean, it seemed like almost that's what it was doing. I mean, it was weird too. Like the last game ends with like an explosion at Wayne Manor, um, and that's how this like the trailer picked up. Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that. So it's just like a totally new property. Interesting.
Yeah, and it's here's the thing: it's not Rocksteady making it though. It's like WB Games, the people who shit out a Lord of the Rings games every 5 or so years. Actually, there's a new one of those out as well. There's like Lord of the Rings Gollum. It's like a stealth game where you play as Gollum, because
There's a
that's who I want
Gollum
to play as.
game. There's a
There's a
Gollum game. What?
yes.
That's not a good idea.
I swear I'm not making this up. I saw the
No, I
trailer
believe.
today. Like it's I I don't know. I don't know. They're so desperate. They're so desperate to keep any of their IPs alive, and they can't do a Harry Potter thing right now because of everything else that is going on, and they want to avoid the controversy. So they're stuck with
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, and they're just milking it for all it's worth, and just like, crap, we need an idea. Okay, how about a game where he plays like a ranger, but he gets like fused with the soul of like an elf that created the Ring of Power. No, we've already done that twice. We need something new. There's nothing else new. We've milked this thing for all time. What about something based on the Children of Hurin? The incest novel? No, we can't. What else then? Gollum. What about him? Game where you play as Gollum. Why? I don't know. Good enough.
Gollum. Oh man, I don't like Gollum. I mean, nobody likes Gollum, but why make a game with him because of that?
It's like I mean, the trailer shows like a cinematic of him leaving his cave and going into Mordor. So maybe it's like a stealth game where he's trying to hunt down the ring, and it'll probably lead into the main game. I don't know, and I don't care. It doesn't even look like Gollum from the movies. It looks like their own like version of Gollum.
Interesting.
So
Hmm.
who knows? Who knows? But anyway, back to Gotham Knights. It looks pretty cool. One thing though, like, this is a question. It's not just about this game, but just about generally. Why does Jason Todd Red Hood have a Batman symbol on him? Because like nothing else about him is Batman related. He just has a Batman symbol, and you think Batman would be angry about that? Like, hey, Jason, you keep on killing people with guns. Don't use my logo. That's a copyright infringement, man. But then
Yeah.
again, in this movie, he's dead. So who's gonna care? You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, like, yeah, it always feels like Jason is the comics at least now usually have him exist in like a gray area where he's like both like connected to the Bat family, but also like totally on the outs from the Bat family. Um, so he's like kind of affiliated, but not really. Yeah, I don't really know why he has the Bat symbol. I think it's just to like make him part of the team in this game, probably. But yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Like,
I
not
mean,
at
because
all.
who else are you gonna have in that role? Catwoman? That would be awesome, actually. Yeah, please do
That
that.
would be cool. That would be cool.
I mean,
I would,
but who else? Who else? Like that Lucius Fox's kid, who was like the
Luke
giant
Fox, the
Luke Fox.
Batwing.
Yeah, who Batwing.
Yeah.
Yeah, have the big mech suit. That would also be cool. Oh, but who else? Who else could you have? Like Stephanie Brown, aka the Spoiler. That would also be cool.
Also
Yes,
be really
actually,
cool.
there's
Cassandra Cain Orphan. Also be really cool.
uh Batwoman from
Batwoman.
there's too many Bat people. Let's be honest. I think they just picked the highlights. I'm just glad they got Nightwing and Batgirl because they're my faves. Robin, I don't know what Robin that is. I don't know if it's Tim Drake or Damian Wayne.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it looks like Tim just because he's like a man Robin, as opposed to like a boy
Boy
looking
Robin.
Robin. It would be interesting if they did like an 18-year-old Damien though. That would be kind of
Yeah.
fascinating.
And apparently in this game, he has the ability to teleport because he's hacked into like the Justice League's Watchtower teleport system, and he uses that to get the drop on enemies. Is no one from the Watchtower, like Martian Manhunter, on monitor duty? Is he not monitoring like a bunch of short range teleports being used by Robin? It's just like, I'm going to let this happen for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I don't. Doesn't make sense, but that's okay. Yeah.
I don't know. But that's that movie, and apparently it's going to have the Court of Owls in it. That'll be pretty cool. But moving on, then we get a game that is actually by Rocksteady. I don't know if it's connected to the Arkhamverse or not, but it's
It seems like
Suicide.
it seems like it probably isn't, but I don't know. Suicide Squad,
Kill the
like
Justice League,
Kill the Justice League. Yeah.
and featuring only 4 members of the Suicide Squad, drastically, shortened down from the movie. I don't know. I think they could have fit Polka Dot Man in there somewhere.
I would hope.
Featuring Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, and King Shark, which is a pretty good, solid lineup. And it's a game where they've got to hunt down a brainwashed Justice League. According to Alex Mirabal, and I don't know how accurate this is, you can't capture and or kill Superman or Batman. But you can do...
Superman's in the trailer.
I don't... Again, this is like third-hand knowledge. I don't know how accurate it is, and I haven't been able to find anything that disproves that or corroborates that. So if that ends up not being true, blame Alex Mirabal, not me. Sorry, Alex. But I don't know. So apparently the game is like you play as one of the characters, but then you could switch between the other characters, sort of like a Marvel Ultimate Alliance thing, but you only have 4 characters instead of like 30. And it could possibly be played cooperatively, and if you've got other players. And I've got a real sort of Square Enix's Avengers beta vibe about it, and that makes me a bit worried.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. I mean, it's Rocksteady, so like I wonder what like the pitch is kind of. We don't have any gameplay for that one though, right?
None that I've been able to find.
No, yeah, not me neither. Okay. Yeah, it seems interesting. I like kind of the premise like story-wise. I mean, that could be a lot of fun, but it depends on like what the actual game is.
I don't know. Maybe it could be a sort of reverend. Like, here's the thing. If you actually do get to kill the Justice League in this game, that will be awesome. But if you can't, that is a misleading title, and I will sue.
At that point, it's a lie. At that point, I would. It could be class action. It could be all of the DC fans.
And aside from that, there's a couple of things. The Shazam sequel has been announced. The name is given as Shazam: Fury of the Gods, but not much more about that we know. There's a Flash movie that's apparently still going. Like, he's going to get a new suit courtesy of Bruce Wayne. Yeah,
I kind of like the old suit, but yeah, interesting. Yeah, we'll see.
Apparently, they're going to make a Static Shock movie, which I'm extremely excited about. That'd be really cool.
That sounds really, really cool. That sounds awesome.
I hope they follow this up with an Icon on Rocket movie, just saying. And apparently a Sandman TV series is still in the works. It's been in the works for a while. Neil Gaiman is working on it as we speak, due to delay in production caused by the pandemic. And that, as far as I'm aware, that's basically what we got. And there's a pretty good lineup. I don't know why we needed to make such a big deal out about all of this. Like, they could have just staggered this out throughout the lockdown or whatever. But I don't know. It's a couple of very interesting things to come out of DC, and now Marvel is scrambling as we speak to reveal their own things.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, I mean, it seemed like this was kind of more bounty than I had expected. This was a lot of like interesting things.
Whether or not they'll actually be good,
whether or not any of them, let alone a handful of them, will be like actual things worth like investing a lot of time and thought into, yeah, that's a bigger question. But it's a lot of different things, so hopefully something's good. That seems likely, right? Something.
It's DC. I'm not going to hold my breath. But I'm sure DC fans are very excited right now. I'm sure Alex Mirabal is giddy with glee right now. But we gotta move on for that finally. We're going to stop talking about DC and talk about Project Power. God, we spent way more time on that than I actually wanted to, but here we are. So Project Power came on Netflix and starring Jamie Foxx, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Rodrigo Santoro and Courtney B. Vance, and I really fucking like this movie.
I had a good time. I enjoyed it. It's
Oh, it's that bad, is it?
no, no. I I'm like compiling my thoughts about like what my overall take is. I definitely liked it. It was not like the most like revelatory, like shocking piece of superpower media I've seen in my life. Like, but for a Netflix movie, it was pretty damn good. It was pretty damn good.
First of all, I hate that phrase for a Netflix movie. Like,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
kind of
care what
awful.
platform it's on, a movie is a movie. Here's the thing. I don't hold Disney in reverence, and I don't hold smaller studios in contempt. A movie is a movie for me. I don't care who makes it, as long as it's good, it can stand on its own merits. This movie, I think, stands on merits. And here's the thing. Yeah, you're right. It's not the most shocking thing that could come out of this sort of genre. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be. Because just because it's a superhero movie and superhero movies are insanely popular right now, does not mean that this has to push boundaries or break genres or do uh, something spectacular that we've never seen before. It could just be a good movie. 99% of westerns are basically the same, but we identify standouts from them. And I think this is one of the standouts in the superhero genre. Not because it's, completely different from anything we've ever seen before, but just because it's really, really fun, as you say, entertaining, has great characters, great
Yeah.
performances, and great action scenes. And cause here's the thing. We're going to get into this as we go on, but a big criticism of this movie has been, oh, it doesn't live up to the potential of its premise. Doesn't it though? Like, even if it doesn't, this is what the filmmakers wanted to make. They had an idea and they say, okay, so this is a story about these drugs that can give you superpowers. Been done before in other media. There's like in Marvel, there's this thing called mutant growth hormone, which you can take,
Hmm.
which gives you superpowers for a short amount of time. Basically the same thing. But here's the thing. You're on an obligation to fully explore a premise with all of its many, many, many connotations and connections. What you are obligated to do is make a good movie. And they did that, and they did explore the premise, I think, to a certain degree. Like, they could do, like, the wide-reaching ramifications of having a pill that gives you superpowers for 5 minutes, but it will be a completely different movie, and, I just... Here's the thing. I believe in judging a movie based on what it is, not on what you want it to be, which is something I struggle with when I'm reviewing a Disney movie, and I think of all the myriad ways it could have been better, but it applies in this as well. Yeah, it could have been very, very different, but what we got was good enough. Like, you ordered a cheeseburger at a restaurant, you could have gotten the filet mignon. Does that mean the cheeseburger is any less tasty? No! What do you want, a fucking sticker to go along with it? Eat your damn cheeseburger!
That's a good overall take for the movie. It's a good cheeseburger.
Oh,
Um,
that's put that episode of PodCapers. Thank you very much for joining us today. No, we're going to talk about it. Okay. So I think we should just dive right into it and get into the plot. We start in the Big Easy, New Orleans. Why the fuck is it called the Big Easy? Explain it!
the Big Easy. Oh man, I just had my friend from New Orleans in town. Um, I think just because of the lifestyle, like it's big and it's easy. That's probably not true. That's probably not what it actually is, but it might be.
Yeah, given
Um,
recent events, I would say living in New Orleans is not easy at all.
it's definitely not. It's definitely not. But there's just so much. Like it's a beautiful city with a lot of like. There's a lot of wonderful things about New Orleans, and there's a lot of like I don't know, like the food, the culture, the like um Mardi
The
Gras.
music,
The music, all of it. It's a wonderful place. So
the
I've never been.
voodoo, the streetcars, the guys screaming at Stella from the balcony. Like, it's there's cinematically, it's a very interesting city, and
Oh yeah.
it's interesting that it takes place here. And we start with like this guy in the docks in front of a bunch of what become clear are drug dealers, and he's just like, "Hey, do you want some of these drugs?" And they're like, "Yeah, what's the catch?" No catch. You get to sell it, and you get to keep all the money, and it's free. And like only one guy questions that, and he's like singled out by the guy played by Rodrigo Santoro,
Mhm.
aka Biggie, I believe his name is. And it's just like, hey, you ask a lot of questions, and I'm just like, bitch, you just offered him, a drug dealer, a whole bunch of drugs that he's never seen before for free. Like, what kind of moron do you have to be not to ask questions? And I'm directing that question at you, Rodrigo Santoro, and all the other drug dealers who are saying nothing. Like, okay, I get it. You know, street smarts, don't ask too many questions. But I would want to know what the catch was. And it turns out is you get superpowers for 5 minutes. But here's the
But you don't
thing.
know what. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't know what the. Sorry, 1 second. God, my throat's acting up at me.
Oh no.
You don't know what superpower you're going to get. So you could get lightning powers, you could get weather control powers, you could get earthquake powers, or you could blow up. You just don't know. Except you're not going to get weather powers because, for reasons we're going to discuss later on.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
as the weeks go by in the news, more and more stories pop up of people supposedly having superpowers, generally dismissed by the public at large. But turns out it's actually real because we introduced to one of the main characters, Robin, played by Dominique Fishback, which is a fucking amazing name, by the way. Dominique
That is.
Fishback, that's awesome.
That's a fantastic name. Agree.
Uh, and she is a dealer of these. They're called Power. The pills they're called Power, but that's a
Mhm.
stupid name, so I'm just going to call them Power Pills.
I'm agree. Agree. Just calling them power did not. No, they're power pills.
Yeah,
Agree.
because like it's like it's all metaphorical. Hey man, you want some power? I got plenty of power for you here. And like a big theme of the movie is like the nature of power in our society and stuff, which is fine. But it's like it's a bit on the nose. They call them Power Pills. I
No,
don't care.
there are a bunch of lines that are like that are kind of on the nose that are that are kind of funny. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
they have power pills.
Hmm.
And
So Robin is trying to make a deal with these guys to sell them some of these power pills, but is about to get robbed by them until she's rescued by a police officer played by God's fucking gift to humanity, sexy man, beast, and intellectual wunderkind, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Ah, he's so hot.
he's kind of incredible. I do love
It,
JGL. Oh my god.
and not just because he's in one of my few Disney movies that I actually like, Treasure Planet, not just because he's a very good actor, but not just because he can sing like no one's business, but also he's just so charming. He's so charming in everything he's in, including this movie.
Yeah. No, even as like this guy who's like pretty serious. He's still quite charming in this movie. No, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy JGL in this movie. One of the things I liked is that he always has to wear a Saints jersey like the whole time. Um, I thought that was like really incredible. um, but yeah,
Oh, so
JGL shows
so
up.
they're an actual team. I wasn't sure if they were.
Oh no,
Oh,
the
okay, because
the
I don't know you. So go on.
sorry. Oh yeah, I think yeah. Yeah, the New Orleans Saints. They're a real team still. In New Orleans. Yeah, completely real. Yeah,
I,
very New Orleans
I
team. The Saints. Yeah.
I don't know like English sports teams, so oh yes, I'm a big supporter of the London footballers. Yeah, so I'm not gonna know any New Orleans ones. But he turns up and he pretends to arrest her and sends them scattering. But it turns out that initially it seems like she might be a confidential informant, but it turns out she's actually his supplier of power pills. And you might think, oh, he's using her to get the pills, but actually they've got a pretty good working relationship, and he's we don't quite know why he's using the pills just yet, but he's very nice to her and even gives her a motorbike for her birthday, Which, like, does she? Over here in the England, you have to take a test to ride a motorcycle legally. Has she taken a test? Does she know anything about riding motorcycles? I'm just saying.
I doubt it. I mean, I don't think you can be that young and have a license to ride a motorcycle.
How old is she in this movie?
I want to say that she's like what, like 14, 15, 16?
Because I think you could drive cars in the US at 16, which is insane. But anyway,
I guess that's true. If she's 16, can you ride a motorcycle at 16? I feel like you have to be older to ride a motorcycle. I don't know. I still can't
in
drive.
the UK, you can actually be younger because, like, you can ride a motorcycle before you ride a car. I think that's what I
Oh,
did
really?
anyway.
Oh my
Because
god.
that's what I did before I learned how to drive a car. I learned how to ride a motorcycle, and that's how I got to school for a while. So I like a very low, like a 50cc powered engine
Mhm.
motorcycle. I mean, mine was basically like a dirt bike, but couldn't go above 40 miles an hour. Which, let me tell you, on the, on the dual carriageway with a giant lorry behind you is fucking scary. But anyway, and so while that's going, she goes home, sneaks in, and it's become clear that her mum isn't very well. Like, Robin is hiding a
Yeah.
bunch of money, but it's become clear that her mum is suffering from some sort of illness. It becomes clear later that it's diabetes, and I don't know enough about diabetes to know if this is a realistic portrayal of it. But clearly, her mum is not great at all.
No. No, her mom is very sick. Yeah, she needs the money selling the power. Yeah, it was kind of like a classic like backstory for her character, but it works really well. No,
Maybe because the
Robin.
reason why her mum is so sick is because she needs surgery and they don't have health insurance, which means they can't afford it because that's the dystopian nightmare Americans live in.
Yeah, true.
I'm so sorry for you. Like, she should just save up enough money to buy them both a ticket to the UK, go to a hospital here. Like,
That might be cheaper. That might actually
it
be cheaper.
it would like it literally just the cost of an airfare and maybe a very cheap hotel for her whilst her mum's in surgery and to recover, and that's it. I'm pretty sure, like, as a tourist on a tourist visa, you can get treatment like that. I don't not sure about major surgery, but even if that did cost money, it wouldn't be as much as it is in America.
No, no, it wouldn't. Man, man. Oh, now you're getting me upset. Oh man,
Sorry,
that's
I,
okay.
I,
It's not your
I
fault.
don't mean. I'm trying to. to be clear, I am not mocking. I am empathizing because I'm past the point of ever mocking Americans about the state of your healthcare because now I only feel sympathy.
It's much appreciated. We need it.
Fucking hell, you need it. Anyway, but then we transfer over to this guy, Art, aka the Major, played by God's other sexy gift to the world, Jamie Foxx. And oh god, so he tries to get into the apartment of this of that drug dealer from the very beginning of the movie, aka Newt, who also coincidentally happens to be Robin's cousin. And the reason why they're is because he's hunting the source of the power pills, aka Biggie from the beginning. And Newt is not really one to communicate with someone who's holding a gun to his head, so he takes a bunch, not just one, a bunch of the power pills, which causes him to become the human motherfucking torch!
Yeah, it's crazy. No, I loved that was a great action scene in this movie. That was a lot of fun.
All of the action scenes are great in this movie, but this one is particular standout because he chases him through this rundown slum apartment complex while the guy is on fire. And I don't know how much of that was practical and how much was CGI, but whatever the makeup was, it worked because I
Yeah,
really believe that guy was on fire and I
it was
really
so
believe Jamie
intense.
Foxx was fighting him, and it was very intense. And unfortunately, he overdoses to the point where he explodes. That can happen.
Yeah,
And leaving Jamie Foxx with only one lead, a mobile phone linking Newt to Robin. While this is all going on, there's a bank robbery in progress, which Frank and a bunch of other Did we mention this? Okay, so Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays this guy, Frank Shaver. He's the police officer. So,
Yeah, he's a cop.
just in case we
Yeah.
didn't mention earlier. So Frank goes to the bank robbery with a bunch of other police officers, including his boss, played by Courtney B. Yeah, sure, I'll be a background character in a film you want. That's fine. Vance. He's too good an actor to be in some of like the minor roles that he's been in lately. I'm looking at you, Mummy movie. But anyway, so and they want the permission to go ahead and deal with the hostage situation in the bank. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, I got something.
Oh, no problem.
Hang on. There, I'm okay. Just a bit of drink of water. Oh god.
Yeah, go for it.
I get this thing where like I get like blocks in my nose. Like I don't know what it is, but it makes it very weird to talk. But anyway.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So
So yeah, they take the.
Yeah, they want permission to go ahead from the higher-ups, but unfortunately the higher-ups are instructing Courtney B. Vance, who's the police captain, not to go ahead because they want to handle it, and neither of them are very happy about it. But Frank is just like, well, screw you guys, I'm going in anyway. I got a fucking sports team shirt on, even though I'm a police officer.
I loved it.
Like that would not fly in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I'm just saying.
No, it wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know how he gets away with it, but it just makes him feel like so like genuinely like this like New Orleans guy. It's incredible. So yeah, he goes in.
Yeah, he goes in and he takes a power pill and counts down a timer on his watch, and he discovers that the guy has like chameleon camouflage powers. And you might think, oh, so he's invisible, right? And indeed, everyone acts like he's invisible, except for the fact that we, the audience, can fucking see him very clearly.
Very clearly the whole time.
And okay, so maybe you could say that's artistic license. Like, we, the audience, can see him to help us, but because the actual invisible CGI, whatever, may have been too expensive or too cost effective. I don't know. But that's fine. But then there's a scene later when he's escaping from the bank with 2 large bags full of money, and people are still acting like they can't see him, except for the fact that the bags clearly are visible as well as the guy, but like without the camouflage stuff. So surely they should be seeing 2 large bags zooming through the street in midair, and no one reacts.
No one. He goes on the bus and he's like opening them, and everyone on the bus acts like nothing's happening until like he opens the bag and all of the like smoke pours out, or like the powder that's supposed to like mark him. Yeah, that was one of
which, by the way, just like flies off him. I'm pretty sure that stuff's meant to stick to you, but
it definitely is. Yeah,
he just dusts it off like flour from a bakery or something. It's so stupid. And
yeah.
Frank eventually chases him down. One of his partner gets like shot, and Frank is about to get shot, but he's got the power pill. He gets shot in the head, and in a pretty cool like CGI moment, we see the bullet hit him in the side of the head. Big shock wave is like a burst blood vessel in his eye, but he survives because his power is being fucking Luke Cage bulletproof.
Yeah, it reminded me of the scene in Superman Returns where he gets shot in the eye, but it was much less uncomfortable because I didn't have to think about my eye getting hit by a bullet. It's just the side of his head, and it just bounces off. It's really sick. It's really cool.
Yeah, and it's very, very cool. That scene in Superman Returns is fucking stupid because for many reasons. I'm not going to talk about Superman Returns because we'll be here all day. Fucking hell, we've got a movie to review. And so Frank manages to take him down, and then the doctor is looking over just like, hey, so do you feel any pain? No. You were shot. And then his captain walks in and is just like, hey, Frank, so you taking any of those like power pills? Yeah, I am. Okay, well, you're super fired then. It's like, why? Well, because this stuff is illegal, Frank, come on. No, it isn't. Technically, there aren't any laws about it yet. I wonder why that is. And the captain reveals that the government people that were there earlier are pressuring him to just not investigate it these whole powerful thing at all. And Frank's like, okay, well, tell you what then. Let me do some undercover work. Let me go unofficially to try and figure this out. And Courtney B. Vance is just like, yeah, okay, sure. Look, here's a picture of the guy that we think is the source of the drug. It's a picture of Jamie Foxx. Huh.
Curious.
Interesting. And speaking of Jamie Foxx, aka Art, he uses Newt's phone to pretend to be Newt and convince Robin to come to the secret. Well, I say secret; it's a restaurant. Meet-up place, and he finds her there and abducts her, threatens to kill her and her mum, and a bunch of awful shit. And this is what's interesting about this, because at this point in the movie, we don't know what the Major's deal is. We don't know if he's a good guy, a bad guy, a morally grey guy, and this works in the movie's favour because we're told that he's the source of the power pills, but he's going chasing down all these drug people, trying to find the source of the power pills. But then he kidnaps a girl and he threatens her and her family. This movie keeps you guessing about this character, not for very long, but at least initially. And I
No,
kind of liked that.
yeah, I did too. Actually, it was interesting to see Jamie Foxx like have to be so evil for just a couple minutes. Yeah, when he threatens Robin, he's not joking around. It's pretty unsettling. But yeah, it's no, this movie definitely keeps you on your toes.
And he does it in such a matter of fact, but also threatening way. Like he's not been a, yeah, I will kill your entire family and let me twitch my monocle a little bit. He's not overplaying it. He's not being like a fucking Electro. Remember when he did that? Ugh.
Oh God, yeah, I do.
But no,
No,
he's
yeah. This one's good.
yeah, and I mean, he's giving 100% of his performance, and no matter what you might think of this movie, you have to respect him for that because it's a very hard line to balance because he's having to threaten a child, but you're supposed to root for him by the end. And in my opinion, at least I found that I was rooting for him by the end. And that is incredibly difficult to do.
No, definitely. And I was definitely rooting for him by the end too. They basically, I mean, they sell it by making it, if we can like get to this point, that he's looking for his daughter,
Hmm.
which kind of redeems him in the end. And is ultimately why him and Robin are able to like reconcile basically because Robin winds up vouching for him to Frank, but I'm getting out of myself.
No,
Yeah.
you are right though, and it does turn out that he has a good reason for it. And it's interesting because you kind of buy his logic for a while because he forces Robin to take him to a safe house for the people that are pushing this pill via like a if you're in trouble, call this number, drug dealer hotline sort of thing. And she's like, you can't like force me to do this. Like I'm just a kid. And she's like, you're not a kid. You're a drug dealer. You forfeited being a kid the minute you started going to the streets and selling drugs to other people. Like your childhood is over, Missy. And you kind of say like, yeah, she is a child, but also he's got a point, and you don't want any harm to befall her. But it's just, this movie. I just think there's lots of lines of dialogue in this movie that work really, really well in that sort of thing, just sort of selling that sort of mentality. Whether you agree with that or not, you will 100% believe that he believes it. And even
Yeah.
if you don't agree, you can see the logic behind it. But nevertheless, he is still forcing a little girl into harm's way. So she goes into the back room with with this other drug dealer guy, and is just like, okay, so what's going on? There's this guy called the Major. He wants to find the source of the drugs. He's right outside. And big fight scene ensues. It's okay. That's all
Yeah.
basically it is. It's okay.
It's okay. It's yeah.
The weirdest thing for me was when it turns out that the office that she was in is actually part of like
Isn't
a
it's
big truck. Like, okay,
yeah.
but why?
No, that was great. Well, at one point, like the villain guy who's there, like the henchman, is like, "Drive, drive," and I'm like, "Drive what?" And then you see this big truck start pulling out, and then you realize the office she went into is like attached to this truck. No, it's weird. It's why do they have this like fake office inside of the back of like a shipping container on like a 16-wheeler? It's kind of crazy, but yeah, Project Power keeps you on your toes. You never know what's going to happen next.
And so the Major manages to defeat all the bad guys, blah, 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 blah. He does get wounded in the process, but he stumbles into that office thing and discovers a secret door. Behind the secret door is big computer bank sort of thing, detailing all the people who have taken the power pill. Although, oddly enough, I thought there was an opportunity where they show, like, Frank's name up on it, but they don't. And the reason why, though, they're monitoring all these things is because, for two reasons. One, there's chips inside the pills that, like, monitor people's reactions to it and everything. But also, turns out that the reason why this is happening is because it's been tested on them. They're the test subjects for the power pills. And there's something much bigger going on. And given that America is a country that, as a matter of record, recently declassified, that has in fact experimented on its citizens and has released drugs into cities, I can 100% buy that.
No, I can too. It was a good explanation for like why the drug dealers were getting free drugs at the beginning. It was like, oh yeah, that adds up. Um, yeah, it's kind of tragic, but um, it's a good kind of commentary. Yeah,
The commentary gets bigger as we go on. Just you wait. He passes out. Robin takes him to a veterinarians,
veterinarian. That's I say veterinarian, but
he takes her to the vets. She takes him to the vets, where her mum works, and patches up her wounds, and they bond a little bit, and it reveals that he was part of the military once, and then he was recruited by a private defense contractor, or at least a defense contractor to the United States Army, who, let's be honest, are the main bad guys in most movies these days. It's either that or a PMC.
Yeah.
And they experimented on him to create superpowers. Apparently, they failed. However, later on, he got his daughter, Tracy, who her mum is, where she came from, and what happened to her now is never explained.
Oh.
But apparently, Tracy has powers inbuilt in her, like no pills required. And that's pretty interesting. And it turns out she's the source of the power pills. She's why all this has been happening. And
I knew this was going to happen because of the scene earlier in the film where they're talking about like how people pass things down when they're like pregnant to their children. There's like a scene earlier in like the high school.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, someone's going to get powers this way. I don't know who, but it's happening.
Yeah, they talk about it's in like a sex ed class, and they're talking about fetal alcohol syndrome, and it's sort of interrupted by the teacher picking on Robin, and then Robin in her daydream like slinging out some fresh and tasty raps at the teacher, totally humiliating him. But that actually comes back later because it turns out Robin does rap a bit, and she wants to rap, and so while they're at the vets, she raps to Art, and he's like, "Oh, that's kind of impressive," and he gives her like a word like seismograph and antibiotic, and she raps out of that, and it's kind of cool. But then you have to remind yourself, oh wait, this is a script. Like, she's not making this up as she goes. It was written down, and someone wrote this rap for her, and it's like, it doesn't make it bad. It just makes it slightly less impressive than the film might think it is.
No, that's definitely true. But it was still, there were some solid bars in there, so I accept it. But you're right. It was, it's less impressive that it was scripted, but it's a fun scene.
I mean, here's the problem. Half the problem is I don't know anything about rap. I'm not into that hippity hoppity stuff at all. It's just something that's kind of just sort of kind of passed me by, when I was a kid and when I'm an adult, I'm just not that much into rap. There is one rap I know, Would you like to
Oh
hear it?
yeah. Yes.
Oh, well, it's a rap from this show. You may have heard of it, called Community, and it's. I mean, it
Yes,
goes
I've heard.
something like this. Well, I'm a peanut bar, and I'm here to say your checks will arrive on another day. Another day, another dime, another rhyme, another dollar, another stuff show with another white collar. Criminals, Wall Street, taking the buy, and all the black man gets a pay to white lies. Prisons recruiting them, police be shooting them, and rap houses looting them, labels diluting them. Black Obama is scared of me, because I swallowed knowledge and I spit it for free. Let me clear my throat. Oh, I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was. That's all I know.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I'm impressed.
Jim Rash was better at it than I was, but anyway.
Might be true. Yeah.
So then Art and Robin track down Biggie, hosting this basically this demonstration of the power pill to this South American business drug cartel woman thing. And Frank turns up later, convinces Robin to tell him, where all this is going down, goes in as well. And it's been demonstrated via this woman who's given the pill, and it turns out the reason how this power pill works, and it's not a terrible idea, but
No,
it's
good.
something that wasn't really necessary. It turns out all these powers are based around animals' abilities in nature, like thermoregularity, using like bones as weapons, and just a bunch of camouflage and all this bunch of other stuff that animals can do that human beings can't. And it's not a bad idea, but it completely gets thrown out of the window by the end, so just keep that in mind. And this woman gets like frost powers thanks to thermoregularity, but they have to like superheat the little like enclosure she's in.
They have this like glass cage that's supposed to like make them safe no matter what power they get. Yeah.
I don't see how that could possibly work, but anyway. And his thing, and as soon as they turn on like the heat and that, she starts like acting like she's high. And we haven't seen a single other person act like that when they're on this sort of thing.
No. It's an
Why
interesting
would you?
drug that only lasts 5 minutes and doesn't get you high, but does give you superpowers. It's interesting.
Yeah. But then as soon as I saw that, I realized, oh, that machine is going to malfunction, or they're going to turn it off deliberately, and she's going to freeze to death. Guess what happens? She freezes to death. And they focus... Oh, God, so we're getting ahead of myself. Art turns up and basically busts the whole thing wide open, killing people left, right, and center in a desperate attempt to get to Biggie. And while that is going on, we focus on the inside of that big glass dome sort of thing, with this woman slowly freezing to death, all while we see sort of like vague outlines of people being killed outside. And I get what he's trying to do. You're trying to save on production costs by not doing another expensive action sequence and just doing like extra bits of it. But did you have to focus on the poor innocent woman who's slowly dying with no hope of being saved while you do it?
Yeah, and they really
like, you see...
out. It takes like the 45 seconds. It's crazy. Like she's just there on the ground.
It's like, like you say, like a minute of her fingers falling off and a big of ice just sort of like jutting out of her mouth as she breathes her last breath. And it was like, well, I'm fucking miserable now. Thanks, Project Power.
It was dark. It was a dark moment. Yeah.
But Art managed to get his hands on Biggie and just like, hey, so where's my daughter? I'm not telling you. Bang, you got no hand. Where's my daughter? She's on a ship called the Genesis, which I hear is a great band. Then anyway. And Frank at that point turns up and distracts Art long enough for Biggie to take a power pill, turning him into the fucking crap Jekyll and Hyde from Van Helsing. It's probably the worst effect in the entire movie.
Yeah.
It's not good at all. And he chases them through the building before they blow him up, and Art gets arrested by Frank, and Frank tells Robin to go home. Oh, actually, we skipped out a scene, my apologies, where Frank, in a desperate attempt to find Robin, goes to her house, see her mum being interrogated by these big government agent types, and pretends to be like her live-in lover.
Yeah, he comes
In
out.
order
He's just
to
wearing like a towel and this like he has this like braggadocious personality, and he's like, "What are you guys doing here?" It's really funny. JGL at his best, everybody.
I mean, he takes his shirt off. I'm not going to complain, But and then he attaches a phone to their car so he can track them there. And I just wanted to mention it because the scene is fucking hilarious, and it's just kind of cool. Just because Robin's mum is clearly like middle age. She's not Joseph Gordon-Levitt's age.
No.
But he leads hard into the fact that they like the potential that they're together, even going so far as to say, "Oh, I get it. You don't believe that we could be together just because I'm white. Tell you what, I love this strong black woman, and it's everything you would want it to be. It's
Yeah. No.
but then so Robin is sent home, and Art is arrested by Frank. And Frank tells his captain, like, "Hey, I got the source of all the power pills." And Art's just like, "Yeah, you're not going to want to do that because they're not going to want you to take me to the precinct. They're going to ask you to take me to another location because this whole thing is going straight from the top. And I guarantee you, your police department is involved." And his prediction is immediately confirmed by him getting a text from Courtney B. Vance, who actually never appears again in the movie. Just
Oh
saying.
my god, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in like those 2 scenes and then he's gone. Yes, we couldn't afford Courtney B.
Yeah.
Vance anymore. Saying, "Actually, no, you just stay right there. What's your position?" And then they're like immediately surrounded by a bunch of SWAT people. Don't know where they came from, but anyway. So and so they devise a plan which involves Frank hightailing it out of there, leaving Art to be captured by these defense contractors guys,
Hmm.
so that he can be taken to his daughter, which
Genius.
is kind of like he's banking a lot of them actually taking him to the ship where she's at. Like they could have just killed him right there
Like,
and dumped his body. Like,
yeah, it's not the best plan, but it works.
yeah, well, it works because the movie demands it must.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Frank reunites with Robin, who's just like, despite being traumatized early in the movie, from like the halfway point onwards, it's like very gung ho about being involved. Like, "Hey, I thought we were like Batman and Robin." I'm just like, you were like screaming and crying, thinking that you were going to die and your mom were going to die earlier. You really wouldn't get involved now, but fine, whatever. And she sort of acts as the lookout for Frank as he takes another power pill. They infiltrate the ship. And a bunch of stuff happens with them putting the ship on lockdown. But here's something interesting that I've got to point out. The person behind all this is this person called Dr. Gardner, played by Amy Landecker. And when Art is brought on the ship, she's like, "Hey, so like I know you're not happy about everything that's going on, that we're holding your daughter hostage and using her to mass produce this pill that gives people superpowers, but like we're pioneers. We're advancing human evolution. And you know how I know that what we're doing is right, even though we're horribly violating her rights? Because like the backbone of all modern medicine is thanks to a doctor, without this person's consent, taking cells from this woman named Henrietta Lacks." And I thought, that seems like way too bizarre to be true. I'm going to do a bit of research.
Oh
It's
no.
true.
It's completely true. Yeah. Yeah, the Henrietta Lacks thing is 100% real. Yeah.
Maybe it's just because I'm English and thus this sort of skipped me. I don't know. But see, Henrietta Lacks was, surprise, surprise, an African American woman who went into the doctors for, as the movie says, a tumor, and had cells illegally and unconsentingly taken from her that became the first immortalized human cell line, which is apparently a huge breakthrough in medical research that she was not informed of and
No.
was not asked for her consent. Her family didn't even find out about it until I think the 1970s. So she died in the 50s, so she didn't even know about it. It's
Yeah.
it's one of the worst examples I could possibly think of medical malpractice and
Yeah, it's
human
disgusting.
rights violation.
Yeah, horrifying. Yeah,
It's utterly horrifying. Oprah Winfrey made a movie about it. Haven't seen it, but and
there was a great
this
book.
is
Yeah,
I think it was called like the Immortal Henrietta
The
Lacks.
Immortal
And
Life of Henrietta Lacks. Fantastic book. But yeah,
okay, and this is what it ties into the main theme of the movie. It's all about, oddly enough, a very timely theme of corruption, power
yes,
flowing upwards, and the higher ups in society using the lower downs to either get rich, get more powerful, or just experiment on them for whatever justification they feel the need to bring up. And
yeah.
sadly, there is real life examples of that going beyond
No,
further
yeah.
backwards and
It's
forwards from Henrietta Lacks. That is a perfect analogy for this. It's oh god, because we, as a society, in both the UK and the US, we are at a very volatile time right now where people are just sick of people with power exploiting those who have none. We've been sick of it since goddamn World War One, but now it's reached its boiling point because nothing has changed. If anything, it's gotten worse.
yeah.
And this movie this movie is so timely in that aspect because it's got the whole superpower aspect of it, but thematically it hits very close to home.
No, that's true. No, the commentary is very strong, and it the fact that they bring up Henrietta Lacks, and you're right, there are like these instances of that same kind of like medical malpractice and abuse and like manipulation, like both before and after that time. No, the Project Power like metaphor is very apt, definitely.
God, and I just thought it was very interesting. And then on the ship, a bunch of shit happens with the lockdown. Robin trying to guide Frank through the ship. He encounters like a stretchy elastic man. Has a pretty cool fight with him.
Yeah,
And it turns out that Art's power is based on the abilities of the pistol shrimp. A shrimp that, when it strikes you with its slightly bigger than the other one claw, does so fast that it vaporizes the water around you and basically explodes you. And that's pretty fucking interesting. I googled it. It's a real animal that really does that.
I
Nature
googled
be
it too.
crazy, y'all.
Yeah, it's nuts. Nature's
And
insane.
what's funny about it is he uses that anecdote to intimidate the guy guarding him into letting him go. And because it
Of
turns out he's
course.
smuggled in a power pill like in his mouth. It's just like, hey, do you want me to go pistol shrimp on your ass? No. Okay, let me go then. And then he's confronted by the big bearded guy who initially kidnapped his daughter. Frank arrives, they team up, and they shoot the guy to death. So pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Robin is making way for the ship and finds Tracy in basically being used as a lab rat. And it's
Yeah.
revealed
Well, like
slightly subtly, but
because
confirmed later on. So go
that
on.
yeah, she got her powers while I believe her mother was pregnant with her, and her powers are to heal, right? Um,
Yeah.
and they derive all of the other powers from her, basically.
Okay, and that's fine. That's fine. Here's the problem, though. I'm sorry. What animal in the animal kingdom has the ability to heal other people like that? Like the Jesus bird? I don't. That's not a thing.
There
Maybe
are
I'm.
there are animals that can heal themselves. I don't know any animals that can heal like other animals. That's
Every
the
animal can heal itself. Human beings can heal themselves. That's not the issue. If it was just her, if like she had super fast regenerative abilities like a lizard or something, that would be fine. That would make sense. I'm cool with that. But she can heal other people, like people and plants. I just like, are you ET all of a sudden? No, this
it doesn't
what?
make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And if that would be completely fine if it was just like a pill that gave you whatever superpowers, like science fiction mumbo jumbo, not based on the animal kingdom at all, I'd be fine with that. But they give you the whole animal kingdom bullshit, which makes this revelation utterly bizarre and distractingly so.
No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. No, it is. No, I don't even know why they. I know they wanted to do the animal thing because of the like next stage in human evolution stuff, but like it was kind of restrictive and made it so some of the powers did not make sense. Definitely.
Yeah, it's insane. And so they all get together, they go onto a lifeboat, but then Robin gets captured. Oh noes. And so Art comes out, swallows the pill, and it's just like, hey, so I've had this running line throughout the movie where like I say I do a big speech and then I say, am I lying? Well, I'm doing it now, and then I swallow the pill, and then he just you think they'll make him like give him super speed, or, like super punches and stuff? No, it just sort of makes him like the bit with the Flash, like throws lightning. It's kind of like that, but fire.
Yeah.
And he vaporizes everyone on the deck except for Robin. And also Dr. Gardner, but that's just because she was hiding behind a pillar. Robin was hiding behind nothing, and she just conveniently managed to dodge the super fast, several thousand times faster than the speed of sound, energy blasts. Sure. And but then and I was like, oh, so Dr. Gardner escaped because she's gonna like come back later, or they're gonna like have a big verbal showdown with her. No, she gets crushed by a crane almost immediately. Just like just fucking vaporize her. Just why you were showing her surviving and then not to be killed like 2 seconds later by something else? I just fucking
Doesn't make
vaporize it.
sense.
It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. Anyway, so they escape. Um, Next day, they all get together, and Frank is just like, okay, so because I'm gonna have some words with my captain first of all, and then I'm gonna go to the press, and I'm gonna blow this story wide open. I'm like, cool, that's great. With what evidence?
No, exactly. I guess they'll just have to take his word as a cop. But yeah, he has like nothing.
Yeah, which a cop that had handed in his badge for taking an illicit drug, according to his, captain, you are going to be immediately discredited. And like, if he had like a couple of the power pills with him, if he showed, it's like, I got a few of these, they'll believe me after this. Like, okay, yeah, sure, maybe. If he took photos or video evidence or recordings from the ship, none of that. It's just like, I know you're charming, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but your charm can only go so far.
It's limited when it comes to the legal system, I imagine. Yeah, no, but he's got to try, I guess, and the movie has to end at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
And so, yeah, I mean, in that respect, they ask Art and Tracy, his daughter, is just like, hey, so what are you going to do now? Are you still part of this? And he's like, nope, for me, it's over. And it was like, okay, yeah, sure. You are both going to be running for the rest of your life. The military, government, South America cartels are involved in all of this, and they know that you're involved in this. So, like, yeah, you're never going to stop running. Like, you can't. What do you think you do? You're just going to run away and settle down somewhere in the US? You are going to be living with this shit for the rest of your life. Like, I don't want to rain on your happy ending, both you and Frank, but a small smidge of realistic expectations wouldn't go amiss.
No, it wouldn't. It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't add up. They're gonna be running forever, but at least he's reunited with his daughter. That's something. That's a sweet moment.
That is something, yes. And Robin gets a huge truck full of money to cover her mum's medical expenses. Her mum, I guess, doesn't ask any questions about this. Like, oh, so you've got like $10,000 worth of money. Okay, that's cool. Where did you get this from? What are you doing? Oh, and then the movie ends. The movie ends with like this radio announcer that we've heard sporadically throughout the movie saying, and now we've got a fresh new rap from this new rap artist Robin featuring this other rap artist, and then that's the song in the credits. It's just like,
yeah,
okay, because I know plenty of radio stations that will release songs featuring rap artists that haven't had any releases that somehow got this other artist. It's so distracting and out of nowhere. It really is. And this movie, this movie's ending. You could tell they were just trying to wrap things up. They were you could tell they were just like happy ending, not thinking of the consequences. And I get
Yeah,
why, but it kind of left the movie, made the movie end on sort of like a not a sour note, but a disappointing note for me. Like the last few
yeah.
seconds really kind of just really ticked me off.
No, I'm definitely more lukewarm on the ending. It feels kind of like they expedited it for convenience. But it's not, yeah, it's not terrible. It doesn't, the whole movie doesn't fall apart. It's just a little convenient. Yeah, it's a little.
And yeah, and that's Project Power. It's got some flaws, do not get me wrong, but I think the pros far outweigh the cons. The performances are excellent, the action scenes are awesome, and the story and premise, even if you don't think it lived up to its potential, I actually do think are still brilliant. Yes, it could have explored different areas and avenues, but the story we got was pretty good, and I think well worth a watch.
I think it's definitely worth watching. I enjoyed this movie. The action is a lot of fun. The effects are usually good, um, if a little weird sometimes. And the cast is great. The performances are great. Um, yeah, it's a really fun movie. It's not like the most intricately plotted movie I've ever seen, but it's a
No.
fun ride. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I think that in of itself is worth. There's plenty of reasons to watch it, and it's annoying because when I saw the critical reviews, that's part of the reason why I wanted to review it because I thought it would be at best a middle of the road movie and at worst a complete train wreck. And then I watched the movie and I'm actually pleasantly surprised. So it's it's got mixed reviews so far. No one's saying it's awful, but they are saying like the screenplay isn't very good. And honestly, I've seen far worse films that have been written. Is it the best written film ever? No, but it's good enough. It's perfectly good enough. I'd say it's solid as a solid movie. It's got those flaws, but like I said, more than enough to make up for it. If nothing else than the fact that Joseph Gordon-Levitt takes his shirt off in one scene. That's worth the price of admission alone.
It's worth it. It's worth it. It has to be. What else do you want from a movie?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, is there anything else you can think to say about this movie?
Um, hmm. No, I don't think so. I feel like we covered everything pretty thoroughly. I'm
Yeah,
trying to think.
I think. Well, there's only really one other thing to talk about. Apparently, after the trailer was first released, a lot of Indian fans criticized the movie because the concept, a drug that gives a person superpowers for a few minutes, is very similar to a 2016 movie called Arumugan. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. It's a
Mhm.
Tamil language movie, and apparently they've got very similar plots. To which I say, like, okay, yes, that is similar, but if you ever read any comic, there's a 500 similar plots as well.
Yeah.
Like mutant growth hormone, for example, that's the most famous example. So I don't think that's really a very fair criticism, but maybe it's not
No.
entirely because it's the problem is I haven't seen that movie, so maybe this movie is exactly like it, just uh with American actors. So who knows? But based on the premise alone, I don't think that's really worth a criticism.
No, I agree. The premise is not unique to this movie. I haven't seen that other film either, so I can't say for sure. But you can't criticize Project Power for, not being like original. It's more the execution of the idea, which it does pretty
Absolutely, yeah.
well. Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah, I've said before, like it doesn't matter if you've got a similar premise because let's be honest, there are no original movies. That originality is not a thing that Hollywood has and hasn't had since like ever. Like it's just
No.
not a thing because that's the nature of human storytelling. What
Yeah.
matters is, as we say, the execution. And I think personally, Project Power was executed really well and is worth your time. And on that note, I think we're going to end the show. Thank you very much, Michael, for joining me today.
Thanks everybody. Thanks Scott.
And if you enjoy the show, Capers, please tell your friends, shout it from the rooftops. And if you haven't already, go back and listen to some of our other super episodes, like the various other Netflix-related episodes we've done. You can listen to the show on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, or at PodCapers.com. If you want to get in touch with us, suggest show topics, or maybe come on the show yourself, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AP2HYC. Thank you very much to Dan Harris for our logo, the lovely microphone, the red and blue 3D glasses, those are mine. And thank you for listening. This has been PodCapers, the official podcast or place to hang your cape. Cue the music!